What's going on, guys? Phil here from Custom Offsets TV on the YouTube with this guy who I'm not going to introduce yet because today we're doing 10 questions for a Toyota owner. So we'll jump right into it then with who are you and what do you drive?
What's up, guys? My name is Jeremiah. I currently actually drive a 2011 BMW.
Oh, so you don't have a Toyota?
I don't currently own a Toyota.
This is a weird situation because you're between Toyotas right now.
I'm between Toyotas,
You had one for many years, your parents have had Toyotas, so you're definitely a diehard Toyota guy, I would say.
Absolutely,
You just don't have one right now. I mean, you brought the one that you're working on, though.
Yeah,
so
yeah, this is one of my good customers' vehicles. We built this truck like last week, yeah. Today's the last day that we have it.
All right, so that's it. Now we know who you are. So I guess in short, if you can kind of recap without going super in depth, why Toyota and why not GM, Ford, or Dodge?
Because it's the best.
Maybe a little more elaborate than that.
You said without going into detail. It's made in America, most of them. It has outstanding reliability. They perform extremely well on and off-road. And that's about it.
So
that's really all you need to know.
One interesting thing is, like, when I was trying to find fuel for my ammunition here to like throw shots at you, I Googled like Toyota memes because I was like, oh, I'll just bring these up and it'll be a good time. And they were actually almost all positive things about Toyotas like pulling other people out. And I was like, man, this is not going as well as I would hope, because I also am a Toyota fan, but I have to be somewhat biased for these videos just to throw jabs at you because that's kind of the whole point.
That's part of the fun.
And at the same time, I got to remind people that are watching, like, I don't hate Toyota, so don't come off and think that like I'm trying to throw them underneath the bus, because I do still like Toyotas. Don't get so mad. Oh, this is a good one. Why are Tacomas so freaking expensive? So like a TRD Pro Tacoma is $45,000. A TRD Pro Tundra is $49,000. Why is the mid-sized little tiny truck so expensive?
Ricky Bobby said it best. It's the greatest, it's the best, it's number one. No, honestly, the fact that it is so extremely reliable. Everybody in the US has this preconception that 200,000 miles is the end of a vehicle.
Yep.
Now with modern vehicles being a lot more, and across the board, just being a lot more reliable, that predisposition is kind of going away. But everybody knows Toyotas. Whether you like them or not, the phrase "they last forever" is in everybody's mind. So when you have a truck that is extremely good off-road, it's extremely reliable. Most people like the way they look. When you go to sell it, everybody wants to buy it. You know, I mean, there's such a huge market for them, and in theory, not enough of them produce. It's supply and demand. I mean, they're a really good vehicle.
What's crazy to me is the used market. So those are new prices, like right off Toyota's website. Right. But like, so you can get a lower model Tacoma for less, like 36, 38,000 in there, and still get it well optioned. And then you look at like 2 to 3 year old Tacoma, 34,000.
They're like $3 grand
and
less.
It's like ridiculous how expensive a used Tacoma is.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to speak, you get what you pay for. It's as simple as that. You know, if you wanted a cheap truck, you'd get a cheap truck. It's as simple as that. If you want a 2015, that's gonna be $10,000, you're gonna be buying domestic.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the way it is. If you want a good truck, you pay for it.
In all of your years in off-roading the FJ, how many times, roughly, would you say you have pulled out Jeeps?
I don't know. Normally, so I don't do like a lot of mudding or like that type of stuff. We do a lot of maybe rock crawling or cross-country type stuff. So my favorite is when our friend, not gonna drop his name, Nicholas, still had one tire on the pavement, and I actually had to pull him onto the trail. It was in a snowbank, but probably around a dozen times.
I wanted to throw.
How many times have Jeeps pulled me out? Probably half of a dozen times.
I've never witnessed it. I've never seen a Jeep pull you out. I'll give you that one.
That's because it's never happened.
So I already know that in the comment section, someone, Bill probably, is like, that's not an American truck. So how does it feel to be a non-American driving your Japanese pickup truck?
I'm an
No,
American.
you're not. If you own it, no. How can you be an American if you own a Japanese
That's
truck?
the most un-American thing to do.
Yeah.
So I did a little quick Google search before I came. And in 2018, across all Toyota models, 2.7 million vehicles were produced in the US by Toyota. Now, I didn't look up Ford or Chevy or Dodge or any of the domestic companies, you know, like the ones owned by Fiat or the other one from the bailout, or Ford, who who got government loans, which wasn't a bailout. You know, those guys. I didn't talk about, or I didn't look those guys up, but
I can't wait for the comments.
There's so many so many Toyota vehicles that are made in the U.S. California's got a plant that makes a lot of Tacomas and 4Runners. I believe there's an Alabama plant, a Kentucky plant. There's plants all over the U.S. There's honestly nothing more American than having Billy Bob Joe down in Alabama make my vehicle for me. You know, meanwhile, the domestic companies are outsourcing to Canada and Mexico to save a couple bucks.
So a couple years back, we have to bring up the frame rust issue. How can you put trust into a brand where your bed will literally fall off because your truck does one of these?
So,
back at you.
That's a good point. No one enjoyed that. What it was tied to, from my understanding, I don't work at a Toyota dealership or anything like that. Was tied to was they chose a different supplier for their steel, which didn't pan out for them. And what was happening was the frames were actually cracking, along with the paint procedure that they were using was subpar, obviously, and causing rust issues. So there was two issues. There was frame cracking and frame rusting. However, Toyota's got your back and they were replacing everybody's frames for free. So.
Yeah, they did do that. I actually know a couple of people that had frames replaced, and like it's obviously a very intense job to replace somebody's frame.
Your truck could be gone for like 3 weeks.
I would have thought like just give them a new truck. It would probably be easier, but they did, you know, stand behind it and basically replace anybody that had problems. So that is good, at least on their part.
Right.
If you had to pick one stock feature from your FJ, what do you think is the best one?
The best stock feature was A-TRAC.
What is A-TRAC?
So yeah,
a lot of people aren't going to know.
Most people don't know what A-TRAC is. If you're from the olden days, let's use the word posi. If you know anything other than Chevy, you might call it a limited slip. The FJs are optioned, but are equipped with not a limited slip. They're equipped with a rear differential locker, which means that both rear tires spin at the exact same rate. They're locked together. It's like a welded diff that you can electronically disconnect. So at a normal four-wheel drive, let's say a Jeep Cherokee of the same era, has an open differential in the front, which means one tire gets power, the one with the least amount of traction, which is horrible. And then the rear end, the one with the least amount of traction, spins, which is horrible. Okay, so open diffs front and rear, it's garbage. It's not four-wheel drive, it's two-wheel drive. You have one in the front, one in the rear. It's horrible. Now, what you do, or what you can do to fix that is you can put a limited slip in, which Jeeps did have options for limited slips, or you can put a diff locker in, which the FJs have the option for, but that's not always the best. So if you lock the rear end, you have two wheels, but in the front you still only have one. So if you turn that off, you have the feature that Toyota has. Toyota's had, I think 3 or 4 generations of it now, of A-TRAC. A-TRAC is Advanced Traction Control. I believe that's what it's called, or Active Traction Control. And what it does, instead of locking the diffs, it uses the brakes separately with the ABS module. So if that tire is spinning in the front that you don't want to spin, it'll grab that with the brake caliper and it'll send power to the tire or the wheel that actually does have traction. And in my opinion, I think it works better than lockers in most cases because you can still retain your turning ability. With lockers, you lose a lot of that.
Yeah, I know the few times that I've been with you or been with other people, it always, like you can literally watch it working where it's just like doing one of these things and you'll just crawl right over or through something depending on what you're trying to go around or whatever, but it always seems to work better than when I've watched Jeeps go through with open diffs and they just spin.
Yep. Yeah, it's a fantastic feature.
So one of the things that Toyota does that a lot of companies don't do anymore is you can still get a manual transmission in like the Tacoma.
Yep.
And so what's your opinion on that? Would you rather have an automatic or a manual when it comes to trucks?
So when it comes to trucks, if I'm gonna use it for off-roading, I want an automatic transmission. And I know there's a lot of guys out there who like driving stick. One of our good friends has a brand new Tacoma in its stick. And I tried to talk him out of it, but it comes down to if you're going over an obstacle and you're halfway up and let's say you start spinning and maybe need to start over, if you have an automatic transmission with a torque converter, you can stomp on the brake pedal, you can use the gas pedal, load it up and go. If you have a manual transmission, most people don't know how to heel toe. You and I both do. Heel towing is when you're braking with your toe, you're using the gas with your heel, and then using the clutch with the other foot. Most people can't do that. And if you can't do that, then you're gonna roll backwards a split second until you can take off again. So if I was towing with the truck all the time, sure, manual, but off-road, I'll take an automatic any day.
Yeah, it's always an interesting debate because there are so many people out there that are gonna be like, no, save the manuals, like the manual's the way to go. But it really does depend on how you use your vehicle, I think.
Right.
Like on the street, I prefer a manual. I feel like you're more connected with the car. Even like driving Rubsum's truck, I like the stick on the street, but in an off-road situation, it's not the best because even myself and you who have tons of experience driving manual transmissions, you don't have the same precision, I guess I would say, as an automatic. Because you're going to roll back. And then like in a lot of cases, depending on what kind of terrain you're going over, like rolling back, you know, even 8 inches or a foot, like might be enough to screw up kind of your whole run and then you gotta start over.
That could mean you're getting winched out or something.
Yep. This one I gotta read right off the sheet. So I took this straight from an article.
Oh, here we go.
And it's really just a comment, but you can add your words at the end.
I'm a Chevy owner, and...
No. Ever since Ford released the insane Baja off-road racer for the road Raptor a few years back, nobody wants to settle for the single cab, hum-ho, custom-based pickup anymore. These days, the truck world is all about big tires, pissed-off front fascias, fortified suspensions, and skid plates. The Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro is the bro truck we all need.
How is that a bro truck? It's so usable.
That's what the internet said.
Sean Chartier, you guys ever heard of him? He has a bro truck.
But are they saying it's a bro truck because there are 90% of people that are gonna buy this Tacoma, they're gonna get the TRD or the TRD Pro, or the TRD Sport.
They're never gonna use it.
Never gonna use it.
Yeah, but I mean, same thing with a Raptor. I mean, if they're gonna compare it to a Raptor, that's exactly what the Raptor guys do. Yeah. They want a Raptor because it's cool, it's expensive, and it has a suspension. They don't even know what size shocks it has.
Yeah, I guess you're right. There's a lot of people that don't use the Raptor either. And the new ones, you know, coming in at almost $100,000 when you option it out, it's like, it's a lot of money for a truck that you're not gonna use any of the features that it was designed for, sort of, because you still can't jump a Raptor.
Yeah, you can.
Insert clip of black Raptor, jump, and frame crack.
Fold in half.
Last question should be a very easy one. So what is your dream Toyota build? Vehicle and specs of whatever you're gonna put on it, without being here for 4 hours.
That's a double-ended question. I guess it would depend on purpose. If this is gonna be something I need to be able to drive around town, go on road trips, be able to go, say, to Moab with, or on a road trip up to Alaska like we've been talking about, I would get a 200 series Land Cruiser. Now, most people aren't familiar with Land Cruisers. There's only about 3,500 of them sold in the US every year. It varies every year, of course. But unfortunately, they're like 90 grand.
Yeah.
They are insane. They don't look special. They look super boring.
Looks like a mom car,
It
really.
totally looks like a mom car. Like if you're bringing your kids to soccer, that's what you're in. But the big things that are really cool about it is like the center console is a refrigerator. You know, that's really important for off-roading for some reason. But it also has A-TRAC 4, so the A-TRAC system I just explained. It has I believe the 3rd or 4th, pretty sure it's 4th generation of that, so it's super advanced. It has all the crawl control that you guys see in demonstration videos with the Tacoma and the 4Runner. The suspension on it is, it's called KDSS, it's Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System, and it's actually designed to handle over bumps so your neck doesn't move as much. So
Really?
over long off-road trips, your body doesn't fatigue as much. It's something so over the top that it would be so much fun to off-road in so much luxury.
Yeah, that would be the nicest part about it. You're not in, you know, something that's all ripped apart and has half of an interior.
No.
It's like you still get all the creature comforts of a regular daily driver.
It's a competitor of Mercedes G-Wagon, so.
But looks better.
That's debatable.
I
hate
know.
Mercedes, but man.
There's something about that big giant box that's
Yeah,
just
the
like.
Kleenex box with
Not sure how
another
I feel
Kleenex
about
box on top of it.
Yeah. All right, so those are your 10 questions for a Toyota sort of owner. If you guys have any questions for Jerry or you want to pick on him, I'm sure you already have typed comments in the comment section below, but feel free to do that. Remember, we are Custom Offsets. We got everything wheels, tires, suspension, all online at customoffsets.com. There's your sales plug. I'm done for the day. Peace.